So with Inside Out being the 15th Pixar film, there's obviously going to be a ton of Easter eggs and references to not only past Pixar films, but even ones that are coming out in the future. So with the obvious spoiler tag, let's get into some of the Easter eggs and references that I was able to find out. Now first off, it's really interesting to note not only the colors, but even more so the shapes of the 5 emotions that we see. And where joy is supposed to be a sort of star-shaped figure, sadness is obviously supposed to resemble a teardrop, anger is a fire brick, fear is a frayed nerve, and disgust, well, she's a stalk of broccoli. Even more so, it's really interesting to note that joy is the only one that has a sort of outer glow to her that's a different color than what she is, and that color is sadness's blue, because as we find out at the end of the movie, you can't have joy without those moments of sadness. Jumping into the Easter eggs for past Pixar films, we see a really cool one for Carl and Ellie from Up, and where we see her in one of Riley's long-term memories, which is also a callback to the director's previous Pixar film. And we also have him voicing anger in the father's mind, which is something that he's done before in other Pixar films. And speaking of a voice actor who tends to be in pretty much every Pixar film, it's really cool to hear John Ratzenberger's voice as the construction worker that comes out towards the end of the film. A little bit smaller than all of his other voice work that he's done, but nonetheless, he continues to be in every Pixar film. Some of the other cool references to notice is the Sunnyside Daycare Easter egg from Toy Story 3, and where it seems like it's the same park from the memories that we see of Riley when she was a little girl. There's a cool nod for the Pixar short For the Birds, which we see when Riley and her family arrive to San Francisco, and where the same birds are there on a telephone pole. When the family orders Chinese takeout, it's also really interesting to note that those boxes are the exact same boxes from A Bug's Life. When Riley's at the hockey rink, it's really cool to notice the banner that's in the background noting the Tri-Country area, which is the same area that the Toy Story trilogy is set. The Luxo can also be seen in a flashback to her when she was playing with Bing Bong, her imaginary friend. There's even in the nightmare sequence where we not only hear the Haunted Mansion theme in the background, but we even see a little cameo to Ted, that big-footed monster from Monsters, Inc., as a prop in the background to that nightmare studio. The scene in where we see Riley at her first day at school is also loaded with a bunch of Easter eggs. Not only do we see the globe in the background, which is supposed to be the same one from Toy Story 1, but we even see a little nod to the short film La Luna with the poster that is in the background. There's also a bunch of sort of Good Dinosaur references. Not only do we see a flashback for when they actually rammed the car into a dinosaur on the side of the road, but if you notice this kid's camouflage shirt, there just so happens to be a dinosaur mixed in there. Bet possibly the best one out of all of them in this classroom scene is the emo girl who is wearing the same exact shirt that we see Sid wearing in the first Toy Story film. A pretty dark one is seeing that rat that she sees in one of her nightmares actually be Remy the rat from Ratatouille. Not sure why they wanted to go that dark, but there is other moments that they have, especially in Imagination Land. Not only little cool things like having her face actually be in the cards that Bing Bong drops all over the place, but also having a Finding Nemo reference, and where there's a game in the background that says "Find Me" and it's got a clownfish on it. But possibly, and finishing this up with one of my favorite ones, is a sort of Easter egg slash reference, and where we actually see the sort of Disney castle in her imaginary land being knocked out as she gets older, having Disney practically reference the fact that they know that as people get older, Disney isn't the main priority after all. However, those were just some of the Easter eggs and references that I was able to find. I'm very curious to see if you were able to find many of the other ones. I've seen it twice and I still have not been able to find the fire truck, or even the, I believe is the A113, which is a reference to the Pixar room where they animate. But other than that, I'm curious if you're able to check them out. Definitely let me know down below which one was your favorite, or any extra ones that you were able to note. We can discuss it down below in the comments, and until next time, I'll see you guys later.